And we're live. There we go. Perfect. All right. So Nick Houston here from Gotham Sound and Communications, here with Andrew from Deity.
What's going on?
How you doing?
It's been a good show for us.
Good.
It's been good. It's been also good to be back after COVID with everyone here and you guys here, and it's just been good energy. It's
right.
Great
You were
energy.
here last year, but it
was different.
Yeah.
This is a good vibe. If you're not here, you should. You should come.
Be here. Yeah.
You should be here.
Flying for tomorrow. So I should mention we're live on the air on YouTube and Facebook. So anybody watching live, first of all, thank you. Second of all, please feel free to enter any of your questions or comments, and we'll get to them as we can towards the end. So Deity's got some new stuff. So I'll just say, we're restarting. Just tell me when we're back up. We're back up? Okay.
All right.
Okay, great. We're back up. We had a little internet hiccup. So you were talking about the new Deity S95 battery.
So it's a 95 watt hour smart battery, 14.4 volts. It meets all the standards that you expect from a smart battery, but it's from us. And the big difference for us was we wanted a little onboard LED light, so we designed it that way. And further, these also blink as you're charging it. So you can actually like visually see from a good distance what your charge levels are at. And then we also said, we don't want to make just a standard dock like everyone else has done out in the market. What about the documentary filmmaker who has to travel out of a suitcase? So we made a real portable little charging dongle of sorts that just clips onto your battery. And once you just snap it on, you just use USB-C 45 watt max for charging. So if you've got a max charger of like 100 watts or 50 watts, whatever, you can still charge up your little S95 batteries in about 2 hours. So it's right there, max 45 watts, USB-C. And you can even use something as low as 5 volts, 1 amp. So if you've got like a little cell phone one, you could do that. If you've got a nicer charger for like a laptop, that's what's really going to power this and really do a better job. So it's available to a lot of different options for people, and it's compact.
Yeah, no, that is very tiny. And you said it can also work the other way. So if you need to power something off of your battery.
So yeah, if you're in a pinch and you're traveling and you need to run a MacBook or a laptop or the MixPre 10, something like that, you technically could reverse this around and use this as an output. And it's going to support a lot of different standards for power delivery mode. So your 5 volt, 9 volt, 12 volt kind of deal. So it really is just a user kind of useful kind of utility tool that we felt the market was kind of missing and was nice.
Yeah. And so you've got your little battery gauge there, and then for charging you've got a battery gauge there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gauge on gauge on gauge. Okay, great. So that's power.
Power.
I want to save the wireless for the end. So this is just cool because you custom printed
This is just a cool little 3D print that we've got coming out that we're probably going to release on something like Thingiverse, open source it for folks out there. We made it so that it will dock on this F8. It's compatible with all the F8 models. But if someone wants to go out there and modify the STL files and 3D print your own, you can make this fit on anything. We've made it so that it fits our SPD1. The battery holder is like... Oh, I forgot I had it locked. There's a lock on it that I forgot about.
Nice.
But it fits perfectly. There's an air tag holder on the inside. So it's meant to be used and actually enjoyed by folks out there. Fits a TC1 on top. And what's really nice is a bunch of cable management on the back for tying everything up. So if you did want to make a nice little portable tabletop interview ENG kit, you do a lot of EPKs, you can handle 4 channels of wireless, time code and power, compact. Yeah, so that's something that we kind of want to release so maybe over the summer for people to modify and have fun with.
And just do it on their own.
Yeah.
All right, so on this setup, obviously we got the SPD1, we got the TC1, we got the new batteries. We got the cups going there.
Yeah.
But the crowning top is the new. So tell us about the new.
So what we've got today is our biggest launch, probably in a good year, and that is Theos Digital Wireless. It's our digital modulated UHF wireless. It's going to start at 550 megahertz, and it has the available frequency up to 960, depending on country that you're visiting. So it'll change based on your GPS of your phone and what you've tagged to, and it'll refresh the firmware. So if you're traveling from the US to Europe, well, the frequencies are different and the limits of RF power are different. So it'll change the firmware running on the device, and you can just take it wherever you need to. So we want to make something that's great for like the travel documentarian, the videographer, and the people like that.
And so this is a 2-channel receiver.
This is 2 channels. We can open this up. I can go back and show you what the home screen looks like. You'll see up here is 1 and 2. Up there you'll see the reception for your wireless as well as the batteries. You'll see the frequencies you're on, the VU meters. If you're running time code, a little TC will be just above the VU meter, as well as all kind of other information that may need, like the user ID. So if you want to name a transmitter, you can name a transmitter. And you'll notice there's 2 separate colors, red and orange. You can also color your transmitters. So like here's red. That one's red. This one's orange. There's a transmitter somewhere around here that's probably orange. People have been playing around with all this stuff. But we've got like multiple colors in there. So at a distance, if I look at someone's belt pack and see a little blue dot, I go, oh, that's the blue transmitter. I can know that's the orange transmitter. And I can then look at my receivers or on my iPad in the Sidus Audio app and see which transmitters I'm trying to talk to. And that also helps me do remote control functionality. If I can quickly identify what transmitter it is, I can select it on my iPad, change the settings remotely up to 250 feet.
Wow. Okay. And so you said time code. Does that mean that this is compatible with the
with
TC1?
the TC1. So there's a 32-bit float recorder built into the transmitters with time code. It'll generate its own time code. So if you need to do something like that, and then it can output, but you can also hit sync pulse up here, and that way all your TC1s, your time code slates, your PR2, and your transmitters can all just sync up. So if you need that backup functionality, you have that available to you, and it's just going to run flawless within our ecosystem.
And so just to go back, the frequency range on this starts at 550 megahertz.
550.
And goes up.
So it goes up. So here in the U.S., for everyone watching on Gotham, it's 550 to 608. Then there's a little 2 megahertz sliver. And then there's the 10 megahertz sliver and 600. And you're available to do all of those.
And will it do, and you said it goes up to 900, so it's not the 941 band?
It's not going to handle the 900 band yet. We might unlock that. We know that's also licensed territory. It gets real funny back and forth. It's also, in our own testing, duplex gap is like really nice. And in our spacing, if you space the transmitters 700 kilohertz apart from each other, you don't end up with an intermod issue. So we have an equal distance spacing. With that and the duplex gap, that's 14 channels. And for a Deity customer, we feel 14 channels, that's a lot. And I don't know if we need to open up that extra band right now. So we kind of feel like duplex gap is kind of going to be like this nice go-to for videographers who, they want wireless, they like wireless, they don't want 2.4, but they also don't know how scanning works. They don't want to be bothered. So there's like these nice little frequencies they can just plop onto and not have to stress.
So, and this is, this feels really light. Is this plastic, or what is this made out of?
So this is actually CNC'd aluminum out of 3 pieces of aluminum, the back plate, the front plate, and the battery door. It only weighs 100 grams.
This was my segue into getting us to show you the silver one.
Oh, that's right. I made silver ones. So as you can see with this model, we actually have all the CNC routing still very visible, unpolished, unfinished. The show off just kind of the fact that it's made out of metal. A lot of people thought, yeah, it's plastic. It's super lightweight. It doesn't get super cold like steel did. So they were like, it's not really built really strong. And I'm like, no, it really is. And what's great about this is the build quality is there for people that work hard. You know, if you're a videographer, the odds of you dropping your transmitters are kind of high because you've got lights to worry about. You've got cameras to worry about. You've got tripods to set up. You fumble around, it's in a camera bag, it's going to fall out of your camera bag. It needs to survive a little tumble. This is going to survive that little tumble that's bound to happen in your life. So yeah, This is our transmitter.
And is this new too? Because I haven't seen this, but maybe
So
I'm just
this is something we're kind of quietly releasing. It's called the PR2, and this is our 32-bit float pocket recorder. And now you might say, well, I must have missed the PR1. This is actually a stereo pocket recorder. So you can actually record 2 separate lavaliers into the TRS jack, left and right. Great for mobile podcast. Great for people who want to do quick little interview setups. Or if you're doing Foley or sound effect recording with stereo microphones, you can do that as well. A-B setups with 2 lavs. It allows it for all that. It also has time code built in. If I can go back, you can see what the kind of screen looks like. It's got time code built in, so again, it will receive time code pulse from the TC1. Also, Sidus audio, so it will connect to the app, do all that stuff. There you can see that purple indicator. So we've labeled this one the purple unit. And the best part is, unlike a lot of these little 32-bit float pocket recorders on the market, this one also will output time code out of its output. So if you need a spare time code box, it can double as a time code box.
Oh, that's cool. So wait a minute. So one of these is multifunction.
One's an out, one's an in. And the out is for headphone monitoring when you're setting it up. And then it also can output time code. So if you're just in a pinch, but you don't need a 32-bit float thing, today I need a time code box, it'll act like your time code box.
So where's the second lav go? Does it also go into the out?
So you'd need a Y-split, and there's lavaliers on the market where they'll have 2 lavs come to 1 TRS, and you can just clip it to 2 separate people.
I see. Okay.
We don't make one yet. We might, if you guys at home want us to. But it is available as an option from other makers, and we just kind of want to support that. We also know there's a couple of great stereo shotguns on the market that are video mics that sound good that you could plug into this. I think Sennheiser has that V-shape one that's really cool. And if you could mount this all up on a little hand rig, you would have a portable little stereo thing for sound effects.
Cool. Great. Well, let's open it up to questions from online. Kendra, do we have anything from the internet?
We do. You may have already touched on this a little bit, but we have question from Carl Marxer on Facebook and Kyle Sherling on YouTube. We're both kind of wondering, will the transmitters be able to record and transmit at the same time?
So in regards to the question, we're just not going to comment on anything like right now because it's not a final product. These are still alpha models, so things are potentially going to change, and we don't want to put anything out there that we know may not be the same as it is in the production model. Well, the specs that we're talking about mostly here on our launch announcement is specs that we know are going to carry over to the final model.
So TBD is the answer. TBD, Kyles. Kendra, what else?
We've got a question about the price for the kit and price for receiver with 2 transmitters, ?
Okay, so in terms of price for the kit, we're going to be announcing that probably in June when pre-orders open up at stores like Gotham. So you could reach out to Gotham, get your pre-order in. Got a pitch. And what's going to happen is it's going to be Deity priced. Let's put it that way. We know these are going to be very competitive against the marketplace that if you're watching this and you understand, oh, I know who that's for, it's for that price point, too, Deity style.
So if you think about, let's say, the price of the power distribution or the price of the slate inside the market, it's
not going to be super discounted. It's a quality product. I mean, it's made out of metal. We've done a lot of due diligence in making sure we hit the customer's needs, and it's going to be priced accordingly with a Deity, flair.
So you mentioned time frame in a couple of months. So it's a couple of months for pre-order and then release in?
Yeah, we're looking at an end of summer release, hopefully August. And we're hoping to open pre-orders probably in June so people can start collecting and we know how many to import and make.
Great. Okay. Yeah. So we'll probably know pricing in about 2 months and then
about 2 months.
Have them in about 4.
This one we want to open pre-orders again. The PR2 will open pre-orders same day, June. But we're looking for maybe a mid-summer kind of release, a lot sooner.
Yeah, got it.
Probably we wanted to get people, we know you guys are maybe thinking about those features you have to do this summer, those Hallmark films, you got to shoot them year-round. Maybe you can think, hey, maybe in a couple months, I'll just save this one in my cart. Yeah.
Cool. Kendra, what else? What else do we have from the internet?
Oh, we have all kinds of questions coming in. Now, just to confirm, the sensitivity is possible to modify?
Yes, so the gain is possible to modify, and it's actually done 2 different methods.
The gain on which we're talking
On
about?
everything.
On everything, okay.
So it's 32-bit float, but we know if you go full auto 32-bit float, you end up with files in post that are messy, and you have this extra step, right? And even though all NLE editors nowadays support 32-bit float files in their editing software, you still have that extra step of bringing the levels back down. Sometimes people say, like, fix it in post, but like this is more like repair it in post of sorts. So we realized by adding a gain feature, you can set the 32-bit float spectrum into the 24-bit spectrum, but then leave that headroom above it. So you're kind of aiming it and gaining it like a 24-bit system, but you still have the benefit of, well, there is still headroom. So it allows us to really also transmit that audio back and forth without distortion. And the same thing goes with the PR2. And then we have a second method. So you can do the manual, I can figure out, listen to someone, and do a mic check. We also have something called AI Smart Level, that you do a mic check, and in the 10 seconds of you talking, it figures out where your peaks are, where your valleys are, and goes, this is the optimal gain needed for this person talking, doing a mic check, for the cleanest self-noise and background noise possible. And it runs on the system, so you can run that and then listen with a headphone jack on the side of the transmitter.
So that's just a little software connector or a little software program that you run on it like a function, and it just does it.
Yeah, it's in the menu, on your gain menu, and it just runs it, and it kind of goes, I know what this is. I know what you're talking about. I know where your levels are. I'm going to dial you in for the best audio quality.
Yeah.
And then as a utility operator or sound mixer or as a videographer, we have the headphone jack on the side of the unit, so as you can check mic placement. So you need not worry so much about the process and the workflow. You get to concentrate more on the creativity side of being a sound mixer, hiding the lavalier, making sure that it sounds good, making sure clothing rustle's taken care of. Spend less time on the actual gain staging part. So we want to just take some of the workload off so you can get back to the creativity side.
I mean, I got to say, this is pretty darn cool to have an audio output jack on the transmitter that you don't have to have a receiver
near. It came about when a lot of utility operators were talking to us, and they said, we're doing these things. I've got to get on my walkie, ask my sound mixer, hey, how does he sound? Can you rustle your clothes? Okay, how's that? And it's like this back and forth playing telephone. And it's like, if you're a skilled utility operator, plug in, give a listen. You know what to listen for, have them move around, and you can say, cool, it sounds good, thanks. And you can get back to doing your job. It's back to being creative and less about the actual process and the workflow. We want to fix the workflow, not take away people's task.
Cool. Kendra, what else? What other questions do we have?
Well, a couple people heard about the boom pole that was announced recently and are wondering about that.
Yeah, got a boom pole?
I've got a boom pole right over here, so we can move over here. I'm going to swing around.
All right. We're on the move.
This is the Deity boom pole. It is 8.5 feet, and it condenses down to just about 26 inches, fully collapsed. Yeah. It only weighs 1.1 pounds.
Yeah.
And on here we've got the ASM1 and the S-Mic 2S. Aluminum collars that are CNC'd, and then the pole itself is carbon fiber.
It feels good. And it
foam
comes
handle
with the foam handle,
is completely removable because we know a lot of people out there are like, I don't need that. I'm good at my job. And I'm like, well, slide it off.
Not me.
It's easy enough. I know. For me, I'm like, it's not a big deal.
And cable kit coming for it, I assume?
No cable.
No cable.
No
Got
cable.
It. So
because it only goes to 8.5 feet.
I see. And
it's like, we know you can just put a plug-on transmitter up here or just run a cable. It's more of an ENG style pull, short kind of pull for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
What we also did was a little unique is the actual foot of this pole.
Okay. Wait, sorry. I just you got to see it fully extended.
Oh, yeah.
It's much taller than both of us. Where's TK? It's not as tall as TK.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, let's talk about the bottom.
So the bottom of the pole has got a double cushion style pad for the foot. We talked to a lot of people, and they're like, I want to be able to do things like repair this. So this is just a simple cup that goes over it. So again, if this ever gets worn out or damaged, you can just slide it off, remove it, talk to the service department, send you out a new cup. Then this foot comes off completely. and it exposes a really deep 3/8 threaded mount.
Oh, so
What that's used for is I went to the hardware store and I got myself a nice eye hook. Then I can hang a little 10-pound BOA bag. So when I'm doing sit-down interviews, I've got counterweight, pull fully extended, and thus the weight is actually back over the actual C-stand. And I don't have to worry about balancing my system nearly as much.
Yeah, well, this is great. And what's the model on this?
Deity boom pole.
Deity boom
We're
pole.
original. Simple. You want a boom pole, you want a Deity boom pole, it's the Deity boom pole.
So when you come out with a bigger one, it'll be Deity boom pole big.
Yeah.
Cool.
Plus.
Great.
Pro plus.
Plus. Oh, that's better.
Ultra.
That's better.
Supreme.
Cool. Kendra, what else do we have?
Well, before we jump back to some other equipment, Kyle Sherling was wondering about plans for longer poles, 10 plus.
10 plus. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know if Deity is a boom pole company. It was an item that we wanted to make because we knew there was people who were buying our stuff that could use an 8.5 that was quality, that wasn't aluminum, heavy, steel, that kind of stuff. That was made to the right specifications. At a certain point, 10 plus, you're talking real boom poles, and you probably should just go out and get a nice Ambient or K-Tech or
what's the pricing on this?
This is going to be $180, and it's launching
Great.
next month.
Great.
So yeah, get your pre-orders over at Gotham.
All right.
Gotta pitch it.
What else, Kendra? Here, you want to put this?
Yeah.
Also got a question about the transmitter. Well, the transmitter provide phantom power for wireless boom. That's coming from Alejandro on YouTube.
So right now, the wireless transmitter is going to handle 3-volt and 5-volt bias power and line level input. We have what's called a DBTXP model that's going to be 3-pin LEMO and Phantom. And it's going to probably be about an extra 100, 150 extra on top of the normal price of what we're kind of aiming for.
Is that being released at the same time, or is that a different?
It'll be a little bit longer down the road, but there is a plan for a similar type transmitter to that, because we know a lot of people are like, they really
At the end of the day, like in the beginning of the day, it was really going fine, and now it seems like we're back. Okay, should I ask the question about the standard wiring again, or did we? Okay, so the wiring on the transmitters, we're back. The wiring on the transmitters, it's the same as like an Evolution?
Yeah, it's the standard Evolution, standard 3.5 millimeter locking kind of wiring that you might see, not the UWP style. And then in terms of outputs, it's the standard kind of wiring output again for the receiver.
Nice. Kendra, what else do we have?
Kyle Goodwin from YouTube asks, any reason why not full UHF Spectrum starting from 470 megahertz?
Yeah, we found the chip selection out there. We don't manufacture our own RF chips. We go to other companies that make this kind of stuff. The ones that we liked the most with the lowest latency, the most off-the-shelf, readily available to us, started at 550. But we were lucky enough to find them to go up to 960, and that allows us to do what's called like world band, kind of traveler kind of chips. So as you travel from one country to another, you're able to take advantage of 700, 800 megahertz, whatever it is you need to slide into. And while in the U.S., we look at that as a negative, the U.S. audience is still going to get 70 megahertz wide band, which should be more than enough for most people.
And how do you, is that just a menu setting that you change what country or geographical area you're in, or do you just change?
So it's going to be based on your phone's actual GPS. So when you travel, go to a new country, you'll need to sync back up and then reflash all your firmware once you land. So that way we know you're actually there.
So it's done by the Bluetooth on your phone, GPS.
Correct, yeah.
Cool.
So that way it's very country aware, so you don't try to like cheat the system.
See, yes.
Yeah.
We don't want anybody up in 800 here. What else, Kendra?
We've got a question about, is it possible to use an antenna?
Absolutely.
External antenna?
Actually, we've got it set up right now. This receiver is using a wireless antenna. The transmitter 1 is currently using this shark fin we've got on this mast that we're using one of our spare Deity boom poles as a antenna mast. And in testing, we got a transmitter from our setup all the way over to the Liebeck booth, which is, you can see their sign from here. So from our bag to Liebeck, which is all the way over there, walking distance here on the showroom floor, which we felt was a pretty good test.
That works.
Given the RF environment that we're currently in.
And those are standard SMA connectors.
Standard SMA. So if you want, to replace them with some kind of Miracle Whips or anything else from other brands, just cut them to the frequency band that you want them to be in.
Great. All right, Kendra, keep going.
All right, Simon Norman from YouTube's got a couple good questions. He's wondering about the end-to-end latency, and he's also asking, can the receiver put out line level?
Okay, so end-to-end latency is about 6.3 milliseconds.
Great.
So anyone who knows our older systems, RIP, significantly better than the stuff that we've been putting out in the past. This really puts us in line with what we felt was fast enough and still provided great sound quality, as well as the receiver is able to put out mic and line output. And
is it a full +4 or is it like a -10?
It's a -10 line.
Got it.
Yeah, it's not the +4.
Great. All right, keep going, Kendra.
All right. Any option for a super slot?
Option for super slot. Well, I mean, if we feel the audience wants a super slot, we can always do something like that. Right now, we're doing this more ENG camera-style receiver, body pack-style receiver. And the reason for that is once it's buried in your bag, it's currently running without AA batteries because of the USB-C port, and it's all rigged up into the SPD-1. Once it's slid into the bag, the screen does disappear. But because of Phone app and being able to monitor and everything on your phone, and these new audio bags having the ability to mount phones on it, you can see everything from your phone. And you're just Bluetoothing, yes, technically 5-6 inches, but now you can see everything on one giant screen. And for a lot of people, they may have like an iPad on a cart. And if you're using iPads on a cart, screens facing outward is kind of not necessarily needed.
Yeah. All right, Kendra, I hear we might have one or two more.
All right. What will the receiver include as mounting options?
So in terms of mounting options, we've got a wire clip on it, so it'll slide into a bag. The back of it is incredibly smooth, so if someone wants to put some kind of double-sided hook and loop on there, you could easily hook and loop it into a bag. There's also going to be an ENG-style cold shoe that slides into this, so you can mount it onto a camera as well.
All right, last question, though there's been so much enthusiasm from our audience. Any plans to allow us to enter our Part 74 FCC license info to allow to cross-reference with the FCC and unlock that 940 megahertz?
This is kind of what we were talking about a little bit earlier, and that is that's very complicated. And to the folks out there that have done it, the other wireless companies, I'm impressed because I've seen the
solid maybe.
Solid maybe, but. This is 2 years, man. 70 megahertz. That's 74. That's a good question, but it's a hard ask. Right now, we're just wanting to get out the door.
TBD, but check it out in August and see what you think.
Yeah.
All right, Kendra, do we have anything else? Or are we ready to wrap it up?
I think we can wrap it up.
Okay, awesome. And from Deity, thank you for closing out day one for us. We really appreciate it. Excited about the Theos, excited about the personal recorder, the boom pole. What else did you show us? Oh, the battery, the charger. Deity's got a lot going on.
It's been a lot of work to get here to today, and I'm happy to have you.
Yeah,
Nick.
Thank you. And thank you all for watching so much. This is the end of Gotham Sound and NAB 2023 Day 1. We'll be back for Day 2. You can watch this video and more at gothamsound.tv. As always, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and we're getting better at Instagram. And Andrew, are we going to see you at the Gotham Expo?
I hope so.
You better.
I've booked tickets.
Good. All right. Excellent. We'll see you tomorrow.